welcome back to another episode of Maxwell Starr's Beer Review. Tonight, we're going to take a look at a beer that was brought back to me from Nova Scotia, which is actually from BC, brought back to me by The Fuzz. Going to take a look at Granville Island Brewing's Brockton IPA. Now, Vancouver, BC is where this beer is from. Brockton IPA is a celebration of our 25th anniversary. Brewed in the style of a Pacific Northwest India Pale Ale, whatever that means. This refreshing IPA is golden colored and well hopped. It is destined to become a highlight of this great city, just like its namesake in Stanley Park. Sure, okay. Never been to Vancouver, so I imagine Stanley Park's got something in it called Brockton, maybe. The other thing is curious is Pacific Northwest style India Pale Ale. Well, I know what a West Coast Pale Ale is, and I know what an East Coast Pale Ale is. Specifically a Pacific Northwest. I'm also going into this review after hearing a few things about this particular beer where it's not quite as IPA-like as one may hope. And I'm almost thinking this might end up in a similar boat as, like, maybe not as bad as India Pale Ale from Keith's, Alexander Keith's, but like Big Rock's IPA, which was basically a little more than just a standard pale ale. But, hey, why not? Let's crack this one open. Now, I notice it's got a Granville Island Brewing cap, but it's got a green ring around the outside, basically showing that it's to match its label. So even though I dropped it on the floor, I'm going to save that in my collection. Pour here in my Sam Adams glass. Even kick up a little head there. Poured a little aggressively, about a finger and a half ahead. Very clear. It's a straw golden appearance, but it's actually got a little bit of like almost that orangey appearance you would expect from an India Pale Ale. And a buttload of carbonation. You can see it gathering on the edges of the glass. Not only that, the head, while it's died off a little, it's got a nice pillowy appearance. Kind of like, well, maybe not sponge toffee, but it's got some bigger bubbles. It's hard to explain. It's got this nice pillowy appearance with many small bubbles, and it's polka dotted with like larger ones that look kind of like eyes. It's actually really nice looking. So I gotta say that at least the appearances look somewhat decent. It's maybe not quite as orange as you might expect from a standard IPA, but it's certainly close enough to fit the bill. Let's give it a sniff. So off the top of that, I'm getting this little bit of like a piney or a grapefruit citrus kind of a hop note. And a slight bit of a malt sweetness. And it's actually a very nice smell. It's not as absolutely strong smelling IPA, but it's got some nice IPA smells off of it. Maybe somewhat, I don't know if I want to say floral. Yeah, a little floral. I guess I am saying floral, derp. Yeah, it's like a piney floral kind of smell. Touch of a grapefruit in there. Well, the appearance looks nice, and the smell is really nice as well. Maybe not quite as much smell as I was hoping for, but it still looks pretty good. Let's get to the taste. Tastes are very mild. It's almost got this bit of a cotton candy sweetness, and it's the tastes are the strongest in the center, the very tip of the tongue, and there's almost no lingering bitterness in the back. They said they dry hopped this, didn't they? Well hopped. Well, it tastes like it's been dry hopped. You get a lot more of the hop flavors than you do with a hop bitterness, and there's practically no bitterness at all. Well, that's hard to say it that way. There is quite a bit of bitterness in this. but certainly not snuff to like a true IPA. But that said, I'm really enjoying the amount of like a little bit of a sweetness in the beer of the tongue, as well as this really nice. The hop flavors are really nice. It's got like a little bit of like a floral, piney kind of a hop taste. But unlike your traditional IPA from either coast, it doesn't leave any kind of lingering hop taste in the back of the mouth, and that's where I would expect to see it the most. If you're looking into this one to be a beer that is going to blow your socks off as far as an IPA goes, it's not going to do it. What I do think, though, is it might be a good starter beer for IPAs. I'm going to sit down with this one for a bit, and I'll come back with some thoughts. I'll be right back. And we're back with Granville Island's Brockton IPA. So, what did I think about this one? I gotta say, I actually did enjoy this. It has some really nice flavor. It actually tastes pretty darn good and goes down quite smooth. And almost pervades me the taste that I would actually, the stuff that I really like when it comes to IPAs. However, I gotta say that this one here probably only tops at around 30 IBUs. By comparison, Garrison's Hop Yard Pale Ale, which is an American style pale ale, doesn't even, this thing doesn't even come close to that. If you have that one available, and you want a bitterer beer, then I would go with the Hop Yard. But to be totally honest, this is actually not bad. I almost think I want to venture as far as giving this one a 3.5 out of 5, but on one provision, that this not be considered an IPA. If you were to consider this an American pale ale, or like basically a hoppier version of a pale ale, it actually fits the bill quite nicely, and it's tasty. Really enjoy the flavor on this one, and it's smooth. But if you were to consider this an IPA, it scores much lower than that. So in a sense, I'm gonna have to say it's. I think I actually did a favorable review of Keith's India Pale Ale quite some time ago. And I think I even did score it as high as a 3.5 out of 5 because of maritime pride and how much people like it around here. And the fact it wasn't a bad pale ale. Well, you know what? This one is about the same boat, but is more accurate to the flavors that typically you find in an India Pale Ale, but it's not quite there in the bitterness department. As such, yeah, I'm going to stick with 3.5 out of 5, but I'm only considering it on the level that this should be considered an American Pale Ale. And as far as West Coast Canadian, West Side Canadian, Western Canadian IPAs go, this blows the doors right off of Big Rock's. Big Rock's IPA's got nothing on this. This is actually really good for the West Coast of BC, but I would imagine that there's got to be something better out there. So yeah, that's what I got to say about this one. Enjoyable, but not a true IPA. Anyway, thanks for watching Maxwell Starr's beer review. Hope you enjoyed watching the review and you're not, you haven't already closed the window and stopped watching the review at this point. Anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for holding out, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.